Well, welcome back to Late Night Conspiracies, everybody. Let's get right to it, because we gotta talk about CERN, or my bad, we gotta talk about CERN that has everybody concerned. No pun intended, this is part 2, because in part 1, we discuss a lot of crazy stuff. 17 dimensions that they're talking about, you know, finding them aliens, extraterrestrial, what the hell is going on? You do not have to subscribe, you do not have to like the video, check this out, roll it.
Many claim that CERN's experiments are unlocking something darker than just subatomic particles. Well, let's start with the statue of Shiva. Shiva is the Hindu god of destruction. Some think it's a sign that CERN is tapping into ancient occult powers. There was a bizarre performance where over 600 people, including individuals dressed as goats, winged creatures, and what some claim are demonic figures, all engaged in a series of ritualistic scenes. Then there's a shocking video that went viral that showed what appeared to be a ritualistic human sacrifice. They point to CERN's logo, claiming it hides the number 666, the number of the beast. Now, regarding the Shiva statue, Shiva's dance, which represents the cosmic cycles of creation and destruction, and the CERN logo, it represents a simplified schematic of particle accelerators and beamlines.
Told you, bro.
Yo!
They're not scientists, they're Satanists.
Yeah, the 666 in the logo is a bit weird.
CERN is the Large Hadron Collider. It's the largest machine in the world. It's out of Switzerland, and they speed up particles close to the speed of light. Basically, in essence, creating wormholes, in my opinion. That's what they're doing. They're creating wormholes.
They're trying to find the God particle, right? They're trying to find the God particle. Let's hope that in return, we're not gonna meet God real quick. But yeah, they're trying to meet God real quick. But yeah, it's also been said they have spent $10 billion with a B, billion on it. And you're telling me they found nothing? Yeah, get out of here, man.
And that's how they discovered the God particle, the Ixambusum, right? I think as they were conducting these experiments, and there's their logo, 666, right? They're trying to figure out how the universe was created, right? Why do they have a statue of a pagan goddess on their facility, a statue of Shiva? Shiva is used in the Hindu faith to destroy, destruction for construction, meaning destroy the existing so that Brahman can come and rebuild. This machine has the ability to unravel the entire universe. Okay, that's the type of technology you're playing with. That you could literally destroy the universe, unravel it completely.
Yeah, they're trying to meet God real quick, or they want us to meet God real quick. I mean, yeah, one day for sure, but like, they want to make it real quick, you know?
I would simply state, if you look at the rituals that they've done, they have the ceremony they did in the tunnel, demonic shit, bro. Okay, dressing with goat horns and naked women. What does this have to do with science? World leaders were there.
Yeah, what the hell? Okay, honestly, this is my first time hearing that crap, actually, because I haven't dug deeper into the CERN, right? I mean, I knew a little bit about it, right? You know, just like you would hear stuff on the news or see an article online, but never really dug deeper to the point where, you know, we're hearing goats, like naked women and all that. Like, what the hell is going on?
Well, it was for a train station, not for CERN.
Trust me, bro, they're connected.
Bruh.
In the stillness of night, deep within the grounds of CERN, the home of the Large Hadron Collider, a chilling scene unfolds. Cloaked figures gather beneath the towering statue of Shiva, the Hindu god.
Yo, it's looking like a scene from Harry Potter Goblet of Fire, you know, when Voldemort comes out, right? It looks like that, but in an alternative universe, bro.
Of destruction and rebirth. Their movements are deliberate, ceremonial. One figure kneels, another lies motionless on the ground. Then, silence. The footage ends. No public explanation.
CERN was quick to call it a spoof and a hoax, but how do they know it is a hoax since it was filmed on their property without permission? Yo!
No investigation. Just quiet denial and a video that was never meant to be seen. Why perform an ancient ritual at the very site where scientists are tearing through the veil of reality itself? What door were they trying to open? They say CERN is just about science, but rituals like this raise a darker question. What if they've already made contact with something on the other side?
They don't look like scientists to me, bro.
I'm pretty sure the ritual was a prank.
I will link you like part 1 in the comments. Basically, there is one whistleblower that came out that said that there are 17 dimensions and there's one extraterrestrial, and they found like portals. So one extraterrestrial came out of the portal and stole the scarf Like, not my words. Bruh. Not my words. I will link to that part 1 by the end of this video, and also pinned in the comments if you're curious about it. So yeah, that was pretty wild.
Okay, it looks like it's time.
And real quick, before I forget, I gotta shout out the homie Jean-Le-François for the 25. Shout out to the homie Neon for the 2 as well. Thank you guys so much for all the love on the channel. Appreciate the tips, the super thanks. This is the most I ever received, so means a lot. You guys don't have to go that crazy or none of that, man. You being here watching the videos, that's enough. Appreciate it.
There is something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the...
And yeah, that's what one of those whistleblowers said. They found a portal in 17 dimensions, which is crazy, bro. Yeah, like... Apparently we're like the 4th dimensional beings, but in 3D, in three dimensions. Yeah, that's what they said. Like, this is not my opinion, that's what they say, right? Like, we are the 4th dimensional beings in the 3D world. We cannot see in the 4th dimension. We cannot see past our 3rd dimension, and extrapolate that further, right? Like, if somebody's in first dimension, they cannot see what's happening in the 2nd dimension. 2nd dimension, people cannot see what's happening in 3rd dimension. 3rd cannot, which is us. We cannot see what's happening in 4th. And yeah, right, it's basically that. But now they're saying there are 17 dimensions, dog. Oh, shit. That is crazy. If you've seen Interstellar, how many of you seen that movie? Yeah, that was a crazy one, right? It explained a little bit of that in the movie, but...
The image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what it said. One of CERN's goals is to recreate Jacob's Ladder, according to Barker, and to reopen a portal. Now, Sergio Bertolucci, who is the official director for research and scientific computing at CERN, he was asked a while back about this extra-dimensional doorway by The Register, which is a London and New York operated science and technology journal. And he didn't hesitate with an enlightening response. He said, yes, out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it. If their agenda is unrelated to Bible prophecy entirely, then what is it with all this mystical symbolism that they knowingly are associating themselves with?
Well, I think they've opened the portal, mate.
Trust me, bro. They're talking to demons.
In the scientific world, it's this major scientific experiment colliding molecules and atoms, and this a collider, and it's helping us understand our origins. They believe just prior to the Big Bang. But for people like me and you and some others, and people who have talked to people who have been there, worked there, I'm not doubting that these scientific experiments are going on. But I have to go back to not really what is CERN, as much as why is CERN where it's at? And then you understand these people that are talking about ripping the veil, tapping into portals, opening up dimensions and so forth. Half of it's in Switzerland, half it's in France, but Switzerland is the main reason it's there, because in Switzerland you have Geneva, Switzerland. Geneva, Switzerland is, in my opinion, one of the most demonic portal places in the world.
Why's Geneva demonic?
Come on, bro. Why do you think the WEF's there?
Ooh.
There's a significant...
But yeah, okay, whatever. But why? The why? We demand answers. We demand answers. We demand answers. We demand answers. There's gotta be a reason. Okay, jokes aside, does any of you know like what's the main reason for that? Because yeah, I'm thinking perhaps like it's like one of those places where they found out that okay, if we place it here, it's just gonna be most convenient and the best for research purposes, maybe. But what's the real reason though? Is that the real reason or something else?
Section of CERN.
WEF's there.
There's a significant section of CERN that is built upon the St. Genus Poili, which is a commune in Ain, a department of France. In Roman times, the St. Genus Poili was called Apollyon, but the town and a temple were dedicated there in ancient times to Apollyon, the destroyer, the Shiva Horus, if you will. Apollyon is also the angel of the bottomless pit, referred to in Revelation 9:11. And then there is a connection between CERN and the Gothard-based tunnel, the GBT, which is the world's deepest and longest tunnel system, consisting of 2 parallel passages, each moving in a single direction on a single track. The connection to the Large Hadron Collider has to be made primarily because of the bizarre opening ceremony that was live streamed to the entire world on June 1, 2016, that included this highly occult, demonic dance with characterization.
There was like one of the similar concert that happened recently too, right? Yeah, where they were doing all that crap. Shit. And so they live streamed it back in 2016.
Beginning with a call to unite the religions of the world by conducting an interfaith blessing of the tunnel beside a
The Dajjal is coming. The Dajjal is coming. The Antichrist is coming, man. Get your holy water. Get your Zamzam water real quick, man. He coming. We are in the end times. Lock yourselves in the basement. The end is nigh. Yeah, that. How many of you guys seen that 2012 movie? Yeah, I'm basically like taking that from him. He says that the end is nigh. Lock yourselves in the basement. He was one of those radio guys. You know, the guy that was in the van that was telling people about, yo, the end is coming. The end is coming. You know, they are relocating. He had the map as well. And then, the guy finds the map towards the end when the Yellowstone blows up, and the map reveals the location somewhere in China where they were building those ships that would survive, and there were only like 3 of them, something like that, right? Where the most powerful men were asked to be at, and every one of them were paid about like $1 billion. So that was like the price of the ticket to be in one of those ships, right? It's a good movie though. It was really a good movie actually. But the guy in the van was one of those so-called whistleblowers, junkie, bozo, as you would like to say, right? Conspiracy theory guy, bozo. But he was right essentially. That's the moral of the story. So yeah.
Statue of Saint Barbara, the patron saint of miners. The tunnel ceremony was all about sex rights and rebirth, leading to a new world order that's a complete reversal of the Judeo-Christian design. This included the triple goddess and the horned god, along with human sacrifice and a return to pagan worship.
They all just reference this one ceremony.
One was enough, bro. They built it on an ancient temple.
Okay, folks, I've been to CERN. CERN is very weird. I was actually there a couple of years ago when Russ Dizdar was still alive, well before COVID. So we're there at CERN, and we're being taken by a docent who's like basically just parroting what he's been told to say. So we're in this place where the statue of Shiva is the Indian god of death, basically the destroyer. And I look at the docent and I go, what's this doing here? He has no answer for it at all. Basically, here's the bottom line, and this is something that we need to really delve into here. CERN is built on the site of the ancient temple of Apollyon. Tom Horn, who passed away last year, very untimely, wrote about this. So CERN is at this ancient temple. They're going to open up and start using CERN and testing it the day of the eclipse. I mean, what are we looking at here? Is that deliberate? In my opinion, it's absolutely deliberate. Something is going on. Here's what I think is going on.
For sure, something is going on.
The powers that be are opening up CERN in coordination with the eclipse to open up a gateway, a portal, and that's what I think.
So you're saying you're talking about the eclipse that happened, I believe, back in that happened last year, right? Was it this year or last year? Shit, man, time's flying so quick. I don't even know. You know, when we had the solar eclipse, but he's not specifying which eclipse he's talking about, which one he's referring to. Yeah, perhaps an eclipse that happened there in Switzerland and not necessarily here in North America, East Coast, right? The one that we had. But yeah, probably last year at this point, right? Yeah, April of last year. But also, this is wild, right? Because the stuff that is going on in CERN, at CERN, plus the Space Force, Epstein files, which are totally completely different, but to this topic. But what about the Space Force? Whatever happened to Space Force? Do you remember when Trump was the president in, his first term? He made the Space Force, right? And around that time, we also had, I believe, one of the Israeli guy, Hashim guy, I believe that's his name, one of the top Israeli space guy came out, says that, yeah, Trump knows about the aliens are real, there's a galactic federation as well, Trump was about to tell people the truth about, yes, we're not alone, but the aliens asked him and told him, yeah, we're not ready. The humans are not ready. Right? That's what he claimed. And then that story also died, and he peaced out. He dipped after perhaps he was asked to not talk about it. But we also had this Space Force. Why do we need a Space Force, though? You know, and shit that's going on at CERN. I mean, God knows what's going on. They're trying to find the God particle. Some say they found it. Some say they're still looking for it. There's 17 dimensions, portals opening, right? Extraterrestrial coming out of their portal. They're going in. They're coming out. Yeah, man. There's a whole lot of bull squash around, man.
These sites really are all about.
Well, nothing happened on the eclipse.
It did, bro. They put us on another timeline.
Bruh.
Actually, CERN is dealing with radionuclear research.
Right.
It's nuclear research. But it is more than that, because there are lots of physicians, I know some, they're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes, they have apparently in the bottom of the CERN this portal, this door where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions. They say there are 17 different dimensions of reality. That's what those physicists say. Some others say there are more dimensions. You know, they had a being, they did not tell me more, who came that doesn't resemble a human. And then they had another one, and they have because they left a scarf.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. That's what I was talking about.
When you look at what is going on in the CERN, there is a fight from some of the military agencies. Intel, they say that there is a fight on time. They're trying to change time.
Why would they want to change time?
They want to change history, bro.
If you have been feeling like time has been moving very fast lately, you are not crazy. According to a recent report.
Yeah, write in the comments if you're also feeling like time's going crazy fast. Too, if not. I wonder, like, because back in the days though, like as a kid, I remember I'm pushing 30, about to be 29 soon. Let me know how old are you guys. But yeah, back in the days when I was young, I mean, when I was bored, it felt like the time was just not moving at all. But when I was having fun, yeah, time was moving quick. Made sense, right? Yeah, when you're doing something that you're liking, time would go fly fast. When you're waiting, time is not moving fast. But nowadays, even if like I'm not doing anything, I mean, I'm always doing something, but like even for example, right, like taking a metro, taking a bus to go someplace, in a way I'm doing nothing, all right? Like those are moments where yes, I could be listening to music, I could be listening to podcasts, but I try not to, because every other time we're like so connected to these devices, and you know, you never get to think or observe, right? So I make sure like around these times I don't listen to music. I just make sure I'm not like a walking NPC essentially, right? But even then, when I'm doing nothing, time is moving very quick. And another factor could be because nowadays we've got so many distractions. That's why it feels like that time is moving quick. But this brother I talk about something completely different, which I'm all up for it. That's why you're here, right? Conspiracies. Here we go. Roll it.
Earth is now spinning faster than it used to, and clocks may even have to skip a second to keep up. Due to this strange event, for the first time ever, timekeepers and organizations are considering subtracting a second from all of their devices, which they're calling a negative leap second, just to make sure all these devices are in line with sun up and sun down. And they're planning on doing this around the year of 2029. Now, I've heard a few people talk about how they believe this may have something to do with CERN. And that's because every time they use their particle accelerator, people start reporting having strange dreams, disassociating with time, and having Mandela effects. Even during CERN's opening ceremony, you can see that they show a clock moving back and forth rapidly, which could be symbolic for whatever's making people feel strange about time currently. But this does remind me of a scripture in the Bible, specifically in Matthew, that talks about how the days will be shortened before the return of Christ for the sake of the elect. So maybe time moving faster is the beginning of our shortening of days. Now, obviously, I don't know for sure, neither about God's timing and plans for our immediate future or about whatever CERN is doing. But I do know that the spiritual war between good and evil is getting more intense daily.
He's right, bro.
Things have been on top lately.
Now, time's moving quick.
Collider, and these beings that they're in communication with. So we're talking about the premier scientists on planet Earth right now, who are actively engaged, according to their own words, communicating with something with a personality, in their own words, from another dimension, and that's the purpose of the collider. I mean, people need to understand this is not science fiction. This is fact.
That's correct. What I write about in my novels,
right?
I place a storyline that is embedded with science fact. Everything that I present publicly in the books, public speaking, is all drawn from their own scientific journals and white papers. And then I'm able to see what they're doing. Not just extrapolate, but see in the real time what it is they're doing. Not a future agenda, but what they're doing right now today. The imminency of what they intend to do, which is opening this gateway.
Told you, bro. They're talking to demons.
It could be someone outside the simulation.
We know antimatter is real. We can actually...
What is antimatter?
I'm not a physicist, but antimatter is like the opposite of matter. and matter is
nothing.
It's not nothing. I'm not qualified to answer the question, what is antimatter? I know it exists, and I know that we can create antimatter at CERN. We have created antimatter at CERN, but you know, it only exists for...
We have as in like us, the humans that are working there, or we as in you are also part of the team? Because I want to know, right? Like, are you talking as in, okay, we have like generally, are you talking generally like us humans are now able to create that shit, or you work there, that's why you're using we, so you and other people that are working at CERN? I mean, I demand answers. We demand answers, right, fellas? You demand answers, right? Exactly. We demand answers. We demand answers. And real quick, though, before I forget, I need to shout out the homie DevSmoke710 for following over on the grams, and shout out to all of you for being on the grams. Appreciate it. If you do have the gram, I would love to have you there. If you do have the Instagram, I'd love to have you there. First link in description. All right, let's get back to the content here, boo.
For fractions of a second. I'm entirely persuaded that that there's an extraterrestrial component to this, and I'll tell you why. You're probably familiar with the testimony of Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
Bob Lazar allegedly worked at the Nevada facility, the S4 facility, by Groom Lake, and was involved in the reverse engineering program. He worked on a particular saucer that he denominates the sports model because it was sleek and it was functional, and his job in the program specifically was to work on the reactor. And according to Lazar, the reactor was a antimatter reactor. And in order to function, it required a piece of exotic matter that was machined into a triangle.
Dang.
And that exotic matter is called, was called by Lazar, element 115.
Right.
You said Lazar was a plant.
He is, bro. He's right about element 115.
Dang. What are your thoughts on it? And this is that part 1 video. We had a lot of like other stuff in it too covered. Yeah, and especially when we learned about that there was a portal that opened by an extraterrestrial that came out of it. Crazy stuff. Check out this video on the screen and I'll see you right there.